Tonight's sponsor is a company called Kanga Care, and they're the makers of the Rumparoo's cloth diaper. And Julie, the CEO, the founder, the creator of the Rumparoo's Kanga Care company, is here with me live, and she's actually on the phone with me, so she's going to be able to answer questions. I am so excited, and this is the first time that we're actually going to have an expert here with us live, which we'll be doing a lot more in the next season. So Julie, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I am super excited. I feel the exact same way.
Awesome.
It's amazing to meet somebody like you.
Oh, it's just, it's just really a pleasure. When we like got on the phone, I don't know, I know you felt this way and I felt this way too. It was just like we both had the same mission. Julie and I both care so much about what we're doing to help moms and dads, and I just felt that from the minute I met you. So I was really, really excited that you came on board as a sponsor of ours, and I think your product is amazing, totally amazing. I have Joe's pulling up a picture of you so everybody can see who you are, Julie.
Is it okay?
Yeah, totally. Okay. So let's there's Julie. Can everybody see Julie? Julie, is that Sebastian there?
That's Sebastian.
Yeah. Oh, look how cute he is. Aw. Awesome.
I think he was like 4 months old there.
Yes. Oh my God. Super cute. Super cute. Okay.
I sat down one night and I had never messed around with my video editing program.
Yeah.
And it was right after my mom had passed away, and I really just kind of wanted to like pull everything together kind of that I was feeling at the moment. And so I just put a whole bunch of images into it was iMovie, I think. And I just started messing around with it, and I ended up just sitting on the couch for like 8 hours.
Totally
and that's
awesome.
what I ended up with.
Totally amazing. It just really tells your story, and I think it's just awesome for people to see that. I mean, I think we all can really appreciate, like mom-inspired products when you really put your heart and soul into it, and it's obvious that you did, and then to have your mom be a part of it. We're going to go right into some of the conversation that is all about cloth diapering, because this is such a misconception for so many people. I don't know, every day people walk into my store, and it just seems to be like this thing where they just don't know anything about it, or they're curious about it, but they're scared to do it. And it's why I wanted to have Julie on the phone with us to really give you some really good insight as to why you would even think or consider cloth diapering. And I just want to start off by saying, Julie, it was one of those things that when I look back with my own children, it's my biggest regret. Like, it is really and truly, for Joe and I, our biggest regret that we didn't learn more, understand more, and then choose it as an option for our children. We breastfed. We ate healthy. We questioned the vaccines. We looked at everything and tried to be as healthy as possible. And then when it came to the diapers, my children sat in plastic for 3.5 years, and I never questioned for a second what was this thing that was coming in the closest contact with their skin for the longest period of time. And so I'd love for you to start off by telling everybody, what are some of the reasons why would you choose this? Why do most people choose to cloth diaper?
The biggest reasons that people choose the cloth diaper are going to be the health benefits for the baby, the financial savings, and then the environmental aspect. All that waste that's just going into landfills, it sits there for hundreds of years. Yeah,
they don't even know how long, right? They say like maybe 500 years, but who really knows the answer to that?
Exactly. And, especially with disposable diapers, when you take that diaper off and then you roll it up and then you fasten it into this little knot, and then it goes into some sort of little contraption that sausages them away, and then that gets put into another plastic bag. Who knows if that's ever going to break down?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that it's important for people to really understand that, there really are some strong health reasons of why you want to consider cloth diapering based on the amount of chemicals that are in the disposables. People don't really realize what kind of chemicals are actually they're exposing their children to.
Absolutely. There's over 200 different chemicals in the cloth diaper, in disposable diapers. And, two of the biggest ones that we know of are dioxin and the sodium polyacrylate. And, dioxin, it's a byproduct of bleaching paper. And so it's pretty much, it's unavoidable when you are talking disposable diapers. And the sodium polyacrylate is what makes them absorb it. But at the same time, that's the chemical that they removed from tampons in 1985 because it caused toxic shock syndrome.
It's amazing. It's a chemical that you can't have within your own tampons for feminine products, but yet it's loaded within your child's diaper and it's sitting on their body 24 hours a day. Pretty scary.
Yeah, for 3+ years. So,
yeah.
That's a long time to be just sitting in chemicals.
I know that dioxin, in the United States, we have dioxin in women's feminine products. We have dioxin in our diapers. But when it comes to Europe, they don't do that. They don't have the dioxin in their diapers or in their feminine products the same way as we do here. Not the same regulations, is it?
No, not at all.
No. See, you could see how much they really care. It's terrible. There's actually legal limits of dioxin in toilet paper in this country because it's something that comes in close, continuous contact with your body. And, there's no legal limit in your baby's diaper. And dioxin is like one of the a known carcinogen that nobody will ever dispute is carcinogenic and actually sits against the baby's skin.
Well, another interesting fact is that, there's no ingredient list on a pack of diapers.
That's so true.
You can buy food and you can get an ingredient list. I mean, just about everything will come with some sort of fact of what is in that product, and you won't find that with diapers.
Yeah, so you really have no clue. They could put anything in it, and like recently with the Pampers Dry Max, I mean that chemical, they didn't even let people know that they were doing that. Wasn't that the case? They changed the diaper without ever changing the packaging and using up the old packaging, and nobody knew the difference. And babies got terrible chemical burns from that diaper.
Yeah, and it's not, it's almost a concentration of the chemicals. Those chemicals have always been in disposable diapers.
Oh, yeah.
With the new change, it really started affecting a lot more babies.
Yeah.
When I started making the Rumparoos, Autumn was affected by the level of chemicals that were already existing in disposable diapers. And it wasn't until, they started really pumping those up that it started affecting more than just that minority of babies that have the really sensitive skin. It started affecting babies, just your average baby, average skin, they can no longer tolerate the level of chemicals.
Totally. And we're seeing that babies are just so chemically overloaded. I mean, there's a whole field of medicine now that is growing in numbers, and it's renal specialists for pediatrics because babies' kidneys are just being overloaded with the amount of toxins that they're exposed to. There's a whole specialty in pediatrics that we're seeing. It's like the hot specialty to go into nowadays, which is pretty sad thing. Yeah. So, I think that... Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think that, that's just one... Jennifer Murata, who actually teaches Jen, you there? Awesome. Jen's taught me so much. Jen is the one who actually teaches the cloth diapering class with me. She's just a wealth of knowledge and information. And I know Jen will tell you that, when she was cloth diapering and just starting out, it was something that she really was totally against. She really didn't want to do it. And she had two relatives. One was a reproductive endocrinologist, and the other one was a pediatric oncologist. And both of them had come up to her and told her when she was pregnant that if she did nothing else, that she should cloth diaper her baby. I mean, their children were in cloth diapers. They know things about these diapers. It's just like BPA. Several years ago, we were selling BPA products and everybody was buying them, and I couldn't pay you to take a BPA bottle at this point because we all know the difference. And I think that what we're going to see over time, over the next few years, is this information is going to start to come out, and we're going to, unfortunately, a lot of these children are having some real horrible exposures.
Well, in cloth diapers, everybody is more conscious of the chemicals that they're bringing into their homes, everything that they're putting in their body, what they're putting on their kids, as well as, companies and families, and virtually everybody is trying to become as green as they can. And those two things, hand in hand, are really bringing cloth diapers to the top.
Totally.
They're definitely not the product that your mom used.
No.
When she was diapering you and your siblings,
yes.
and they've come so far, and a lot of of people don't realize that. And so the first time they see what diapers have become now, their jaw drops, and they're like, that is so easy. And that's, that's what we're talking about.
I need to show your diaper as you're saying that, just because I think that you can't even have this conversation without the context of how cute these little diapers are. This is a little Joey from Kanga Care. This is their real small one for the itty bitty babies, with even a fold down for the umbilical cord. Just so cute. That's the entire diaper right there. I mean, so much easier than you can think. It's not like the cloth diapers that look, the pre-folds that look like burp pads. I use them for burp pads. We don't use them for diapers. Some people do use them as diapers, but for the majority of the people, and for the people who come through the store and who we work with, they use this type of a diaper, and this is for the one size fits all that goes, from also from birth until potty training. Just amazing, amazing diapers, which I'll show you a little bit more of later. And so let's talk a little bit about the money, because I don't think people really understand how much money they're going to be actually saving when they do cloth diaper.
They are going to be saving between $5,000 and $6,000.
Yeah.
When you get into figuring out how much you're going to spend on your disposables, and we're trying to calculate the cost off of shopping in bulk. Everybody's going to try and get their diapers the most cost-effective way that they can. But you're always going to fall into the situation where you have to run to the grocery store or the corner store at like 2 o'clock in the morning because you thought you had one last diaper in your diaper bag.
Sending Joe out to A&P.
It's not there.
Sending Joe out to A&P at midnight because I always ran out of diapers.
Exactly. So there's always going to be those kind of, there's always going to be those different trips that you're going to have to just, get whatever's available.
Yeah.
There's swim diapers, there's pull-ups, the training pants, there's wipes. When you start calculating all this stuff out, it ends up being between $5,000 and $6,000, and that just depends on what kind of brand you use. And they all fluctuate in price depending on if they're brand name or if you're going with like the store generic.
And that's really just for the diapers. I mean, when you start to look at like wipes, all the accessories like the diaper genie refills, the creams, the lotions, because they're going to be rashier, they're going to have more rashes, more sensitivities. You'll be going through more creams with the disposables. You're talking about another like $800 per year just in that. So like all in all, when we calculated out how much Joe and I spent on diapers, it was around $8,000 per child. And it's just so incredible because that's $16,000 that was spent on something that went, that was not healthy, first of all, that ended up in a landfill, that we could have used on other things or saved for their college, where we didn't have to spend that money. And when we look at the cost of disposable diapering, I mean, when I've calculated out what we actually charge when we do the whole package here in the store, for the majority of people, and this includes the detergent, if you go all out with diapering, the most you could possibly spend is somewhere around $1,200 total. And that's going to be for all your children because they're reusable.
Exactly. And, when you start to calculate these savings and you just figure, you could have put $7,000 towards their college fund, I mean, that really, really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And, it's when we're talking to people, especially when we do local shows and we get to actually talk to the customer, they're always so surprised by these numbers.
Totally.
And, they're kind of like, that can't be true. And it's like, I'm here to educate you, and I just want to, give you this information. We never expect for anybody, to walk into one of those baby shows and then leave with a set of 24 diapers. But we always, we have those families like, I'll take a couple and we'll take them home and play with them. And we almost hear from every single person that stopped by the booth within the next 24 to 48 hours. And they're just like, we sat down with the calculator, and I don't know why we didn't think about this sooner.
Yeah.
And it's one of those decisions that I firmly believe is just as important as deciding what car seat you're going to pick.
Absolutely.
And, families spend so much time, figuring out which bed and what crib bedding and which car seat and which baby carrier. And diapers needs to be one of those top top decisions.
Absolutely, absolutely. They spend more time deciding on the color that they're going to paint their bedroom in most cases, the baby's room, versus what kind of diapers they're going to use on their child. And, several years ago, I was asked to be on an NBC morning show, and the topic was, having your baby on a budget, which is actually the topic of tonight's conversation. And they asked me to come on and do a story for them. They said, you're the baby expert. Come on and tell us all about it. What would you do if you were on a budget with the economy being the way it is? What would be the things that you would recommend? What kind of stroller should I buy? What would you borrow versus purchase? And it really made no sense to me, because when I came back to them and I thought, if you really were looking to save money, then, the two things you really want to look at is breastfeeding and cloth diapering. I mean, those are your two biggest expenses, and they're the two healthiest things that you can do for your child. You're going to save like $10,000, and they were pretty much in shock when I gave them that number.
There's so many places that you can spend your money, and then there's so many places where you don't need to spend your money.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of it is just educating the parents.
Yes.
A lot of people, it's not really, it's just like with my first daughter. I didn't have this exposure to these kind of things before we had her.
Yes.
It wasn't until after we had her
that
all of a sudden, we had her bed and we had her clothing and we had the stroller. But I felt like I was scrambling all of a sudden, because there was so many things that all of a sudden I realized I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
And I needed to figure out quick.
Totally. Absolutely. A couple other things, people get very, very nervous about the whole idea of like the cleaning process, that it's going to be really hard, that you're going to have to deal with poop, like the whole idea of poop in your washing machine, like they get really freaked out by the whole thing, and I think that's like a real misconception, right?
It is. It's, when we start talking with new families that haven't quite made the decision yet, whether they're expecting, or whether they are contemplating making the switch, poop is the first thing that is on everybody's mind. And if families are already using disposables, I think it's the easiest to talk about, because they've already had the experience of the blowouts and up the back and out the legs and changing the baby, as well as yourself, because you were holding baby when it happened.
Yes.
And the difference with cloth diapers is you're not going to be dealing with that poop.
Yes.
So everybody has this idea that cloth diapers means poop everywhere.
Yes.
And cloth diapers actually means you're dealing with less poop.
Well, I had a client. I had a client who actually came in and told me that she's actually doing less laundry now that she's cloth diapering than she was before, and I was totally shocked by that statement. And what she said was that she was going through like 3 or 4 baby outfits a day just because of all the up the backers or the poop just shooting up the back of that disposable diaper. And now with the cloth diapers, everything gets held in. She just goes through 1 outfit a day and is doing less laundry.
Do you know, I had a friend of ours that we always give all of our baby clothes to, and she said, I love getting baby clothes from you, because the baby clothes I get from other friends, she's like, they're like stained. She goes, your clothes are never stained. And it's true. You're not doing that laundry. There's not poop everywhere. There's not poop on you, which is really important too. And you're dealing with much less poop.
Yeah. Well, Jen always says in our live class, right, Jen, that if you don't want to deal with poop, then the only way to do that is to actually hire someone to come in and change every one of your baby's diapers, because no matter which system you use, you're going to have to deal with poop no matter what, right?
But and you're already changing their diapers, so does it matter if it's a disposable?
It really doesn't.
You're still wiping their bottom.
You might as well do it. You might as well do it for less money. You might as well do it in a healthier way, and you might as well do it to save the environment in some way if you're going to do it anyway, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and then the whole idea of like a laundry service for diapering, I mean, I can't imagine that either.
Laundry services are still widely available. We have a few here in Denver, and they offer the service, and it's the traditional pre-folds and covers.
Yes.
And it ends up being about the same cost-wise as it can be with disposables, but your benefit is, the health factor and the environmental factor, not so much on the financial side.
Yes.
However, modern cloth diapers are so easy nowadays that it is basically just one load of, just as easy to wash as T-shirts.
Yes.
It's like an extra load of T-shirts.
Yeah.
And, your diapers are done. There's no soaking and scrubbing and dunking and flushing and soaking. It's just, the materials that the cloth diapers are made out of. The poop doesn't really stick to it. So you just plop it in the toilet.
Yes.
And you put your diaper in the diaper pail. And what most families don't know is that if you read the side of the package of disposable diapers, it tells you to throw the waste into the toilet before disposing of the diaper.
Yeah. Most people don't know that.
And the reason why is it's against the law to throw away human waste.
Yes.
But it's one of those things that everybody does, so it's not controlled.
Yeah, and you know what? We were talking about it in our live class that, we're talking about municipalities actually starting to think about fining people like the way they do. They go through garbages for needles. They might start doing that. You may get fines for actually throwing poop in the garbage.
Well, and as ridiculous as a lot of people think that sounds, it makes a lot of sense because those diapers are, they're contaminating our groundwater.
Yeah.
And, it's just the trickle effect.
Yep.
It affects so much more than just throwing a diaper in the trash.
Yep, totally. One of the things that I think is really important to stress here, if I had one more thing to say about it, is that, if you're a new mom and you're starting out and you're not sure where to start with cloth diapering, the comparison is very similar to me, like with breastfeeding. There are a lot of chat rooms out there. There's a lot of information. The internet can be really, really confusing, especially when it comes to cloth diapers. Everybody seems to have their opinion, wouldn't you say, Julie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the easiest way to kind of combat that is, if you're having issues or you have questions, is to make sure you're going to an expert. Somebody who really knows the product, somebody who has taken a lot of time and invested themselves in, educating themselves about the product. Mm-hmm. And, you can really use them as your one source to troubleshoot any type of issues that you're having or bring any questions to the table. And you're not going to get, a wide variety of troubleshooting ideas, basically, that, might work for somebody but haven't worked for somebody else. Well, you get conflicting information.
What we'll be able to do is the same type of thing that we're doing here in the store. Is the clients who buy the products from us here in the store always have us as their resource to come to. And when we start putting this online program together, we'll have that type of a resource available for anybody who purchases through us and watches our program, so we can give you ongoing support as well, the same way we do here in the store. It's very important. We mom support groups are great, like especially when it comes to breastfeeding. They can be really helpful for just to have the encouragement, the support, talking to each other. But when you're really getting into issues with your diapers or with breastfeeding, it's really important to seek an expert's opinion.
It really is, and it can make all the difference in the world, from being stressed out and, feeling like nothing's working out for you, to just getting a simple solution and really knowing that you're not doing something that, might possibly be the wrong thing and could end up, ruining something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One of the questions that came in was, how do you get rid of the ammonia smell from diapers if the stripping process didn't work? Like, what would cause something like that anyway, Julie?
Well, ammonia buildup there's a few things that can happen. Most frequently, you're definitely going to get ammonia if you're not washing frequently enough. So that's a big key, and you'll also notice that it can be worse at different times of the year. So in the summer, when it's warmer out, you might need to wash more frequently than in the winter, when it's cooler.
Yes.
Also, using a good detergent. If you use a really good detergent from the start, then you should never have those ammonia problems to begin with.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with the detergents that you use and the rinsing that you're doing, correct?
Yes. Ammonia can be caused by buildup in the diapers. It can also be caused by not getting diapers clean enough.
Awesome.
So it's really finding kind of that happy medium of enough detergent and the right detergent.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm seeing people here on the chat line talking about Tide, talking about no Tide. This is the confusion that comes up, where some people are going to recommend one thing and then another person's going to say, no, don't do that. This is exactly the situation that we're talking about, of making sure that you're going to, even whether it's an expert on the topic or to the actual manufacturer and what they recommend for their product, correct?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
It really is. And there's a lot of products that, are compatible, and then there's a lot of products that maybe you should wash separately, but are compatible with other type of products. So that's kind of key in going back to really, opening up a relationship with an expert to figure out, what's going to work best for you and what kind of a system and which products all work well together.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, awesome. And Jen's on the line talking about, like, for people in New Jersey, because we have really, really hard water in New Jersey. That's a really important thing to keep in mind when you've got hard water, and I know we do have a lot of issues with that. That's what can cause leaking and the buildup, and you got to watch out on what your diaper detergent choices are when it comes to the hard water.
Yes, absolutely. We actually, I had a lady that I was on the phone with earlier today, and we had kind of been troubleshooting for about the past month. She had some really bad ammonia buildup, and she had called in a couple weeks ago, and she was just telling me all these different things that she had tried, and she had Googled it, and she just found all these different techniques that, she was hoping would work. And finally we just sat down, and I was like, okay, this might take a few days, but this is what you need to do. And, she called back, and she was like, we're good. She's like, we're gold, and there's no ammonia, and the red is gone. And it ended up being a combination of, detergent buildup and also the wrong detergent, because her baby was sensitive to big detergent. So the redness was actually the ammonia was aggravating the sensitivity to the detergent.
Yep, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question came in from, Kia in Colorado, close to you, and this was from November, and she's asking, this is Bodie Bear, right? How do you travel and cloth diaper? Oh, such a good question. I've done it on road trips for long weekends, but not flown and handled all the logistics. So what do you recommend, if you're going to be traveling?
If you're going to be traveling, it kind of depends. If you're going to be staying with family or friends, it's really just talking to them and, seeing if you can use, their washer and dryer. It's not out of the question that they might be completely weirded out. Other friends or family, they get it, and even if they're kind of hesitant, you can usually talk them through it. You put your dirty jeans, that got all kinds of mud on them, and they came out clean and nothing was left over in your washer, so the diapers will be fine. So you definitely, and if you're going to stay at a hotel, most hotels will have some sort of laundry room or facility that you can go and you can wash diapers at. It depends on the length that you're going to be traveling. We recently went up to Fargo, North Dakota, and all I did was I took our wet bag, and that was it. I just, we were up there for 3 days, and I just loaded up the wet bag, and then I put it in the suitcase, and we came home, and I washed it at home. And, if you have the right kind of, traveling accessories and your wet bag and your pail liner, then you can do that. I was actually wondering if they were going to let us through the airport and check our baggage, and they did. So.
Did you have to check the liquid and see if there was only 3 ounces in the liquid?
No, we checked it, but I was actually wondering if I was going to get one of those notes that said they had opened up the suitcase.
Lucky them. Lucky them. I'd love to be the person who opened up your suitcase and found all of that, right? And
the nice thing about cloth diapers is because you're dumping that poop out, you don't have that, that traditional disposable diaper pail stench.
No. You could tell when you walk into someone's house if they've got a diaper genie with disposable diapers. I mean, it's immediately it hits you in the face like a ton of bricks. You could smell it from
this perfumed poop. But it's got its own character.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, it's, and the other thing to understand about cloth diapering, which I think is really different than when we talk about breastfeeding, is it's not all or nothing. I mean, for a lot of people, you are planning to disposable diaper your baby for the next 3 to 4 years, okay? If you decided that, you just came home with a newborn and it's too much for you and you want to wait a week, or if you're going on vacation and there's just no option, you need to use disposable diapers, okay, so you do, and then you go back to your cloth diaper. This is not an all or nothing thing, and for some people who actually work with us, they actually come in with the idea of, I'm going to do this when I'm home, and when they're sleeping, when I go out, I'm going to use my disposables. Half those people do decide in the end never to use disposables, but there are some that do, and it's still reducing their child's exposure by 50% over years of time from chemicals. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, even if you were to only use a couple cloth diapers, it makes such a huge impact.
Yeah.
Each one cloth diaper can
Yes.
roughly equal between 350 and 450 disposable diapers. So just one cloth diaper definitely makes a difference.
Unbelievable.
And a lot of families are concerned about the upfront investment,
Yeah.
and that can be spread out also, especially if you make the decision while you're expecting. You have your entire pregnancy to buy your cloth diaper stash.
Yeah.
Now,
totally.
if you've made the decision and you have, a baby that's already, 2 months old, 6 months old, and you don't have that initial investment, you can just piecemeal it together. You can buy a couple here and a couple here, and if it takes you 5 months, then, by the time you get to that 5 months, you're there.
Yes.
And, you've been making, little steps and a little bit of difference the entire way.
Yeah, totally. Let's go over just a couple of topics because I think that it's really, really important. Beyond just cloth diapering, there are several things that you can do. I know money is tight for a lot of you out there, and there are a few tips that I want to give you before you leave tonight on what you can do to save money and still, get the best of what you need for your child. Other ways to save money, obviously breastfeeding. I will go over that 1,000 times because the cost of formula is going to be a fortune for you. Regular formula is going to cost you somewhere between $2,500 to $3,000 for the year. That's just the formula. That doesn't include the bottles and all the accessories and all the stuff and trips to the store and everything else. The cost of, breastfeeding is so minimal when you compare it to what it's going to cost you in formula. And if they have to be on that hypoallergenic, Nutramigen or, other stuff, it's going to cost you $25 for a little can. So most and foremost, make sure that you're doing the best you can to stick with breastfeeding as long as possible. That's the number one thing beyond the cloth diapering. Other things that I want you to consider, okay? What can you borrow and what should you buy? Very, very important. There's really two things that I want you to always keep in mind when you're thinking about what you should not be borrowing or buying secondhand. And those two things are your breast pump and your car seats, okay? Those are two things that I just highly recommend buying new. They're very, very important when it comes to the quality of, making sure that they're clean, especially certain pumps will have they're not barrier protected, and you want to make sure that you're getting a clean, fresh pump, not using somebody else's. And then the other thing is your car seat, because if it's even been in a small car accident, you may not have the functionality that you need, and that's going to be really important. You don't want to find out when you've been in a car accident, okay? So make sure that you're getting your own car seats. Beyond that, when it comes to clothing, when it comes to other types of products, those things you can really buy secondhand. And somebody gave me a really good tip. Somebody came on and was telling me about, let's see, I'll go through here. They were telling me about a free swap that they found, it was somebody who mentioned it online here for me. I will tell you the website right now, and Emily can post it for you. I haven't checked it out myself, so you guys will go on and look at it. What is it called? You know what? I will post for you when I find it because I can't seem to. Oh, here it is. freecycle.org. Okay, what she said was this was Heidi. Shared this with us, that it was a money-saving tip. freecycle.org is a great community of people that have used items to give away. I've gotten a ton of clothes for my kids as well as several toys, and she likes all of them. It only cost me the money of gas to get the stuff, so that's really great. When it comes to purchasing your gear, like your strollers and all those things, I think that's really where you don't want to cheap out, okay? Because you want it to last. I don't know about how many of you out there have older children, but I have literally, and I'm not kidding, 5 different strollers because I just kept going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and all they did was fall apart. I don't know, Julie, did you have that experience too with your strollers?
You know what? I was actually just chatting on your live chat.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, awesome. So you're on to something else. I got it. What I was talking about was like not getting, cheap products because they're going to fall apart, and then you're going to wind up spending more money. It's worth the investment. The place to save your money is on the diapers, the breastfeeding, and all these other things, and then go and buy some quality products that are going to last you with a good warranty. Really important to check out the warranties on some of these products. Some of the better brands have longer warranties as well, so that you're not going to have issues with it.
Some of the better brands you can actually even just take back to the store that you bought it from.
Yes.
And you can swap it out right there. You don't even have to deal with contacting, the manufacturer and going through all that, because the stores that carry them know that they are representing such a quality product that,
Totally.
they can swap out that product, and then, the store can, talk to the manufacturer and they will make it right.
Totally.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that I think is really important is to try to buy products that have dual purposes. And what I mean by that is, certain swings that can be turned into a bouncy seat, or a bassinet that can also be used as a pack and play later. Things that are going to have multiple purpose uses are going to work out best. So you're not filling your house with a ton of stuff, okay? We all know as new parents that the house very quickly can start to get overridden with like baby products. And Joe's laughing over here because he'll never forget when we got done with our first baby shower. We didn't know what we were doing. We filled the entire house with baby stuff, and half of it wasn't even good, and half of it we didn't even wind up using, and it was just a lot of junk that we didn't really need. And I think that what is important to do is to make sure that you don't overbuy. You don't need a lot of stuff. You need the essentials. And last but not least, don't throw out the boxes, okay? So don't come home, get really excited, and just open everything up, okay, and throw out all the boxes, because half the stuff you may find that the baby really doesn't need at all. And I had one client who came in. She was in tears. She delivered a month early, and her husband was trying to be so helpful. He decided that while she was in the hospital delivering their baby, he would go home and he would open every single box of everything they got, wash every single piece of clothing, and put it away, and try to be so helpful. And she came home and she was mortified because half the stuff was stuff that she was going to take back, and now she couldn't. So hold on to the stuff till you actually need it. Keep it in the boxes, and then don't keep too much around. Okay, so these are some really good tips that I could offer to you. Julie, thank you so much for being with us and sharing all your awesome information. And I am just so excited to move forward with you and your company, and to be able to bring this type of great information out there to everybody everywhere. So thank you for being with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're
Julie.
welcome, and thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Awesome.
And I had a great time.
Excellent. Did everybody enjoy having Julie? Yeah, thank you, Julie. Good night, everyone, and I will see you next week once again for My Baby Experts. Signing off.